Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here, and welcome to my virtual studio in Vermillion. As you can see beside me today, we are painting a lighthouse. If you've painted with me before, thanks for coming back. If you haven't, head back onto my channel after this and you'll find a whole playlist of Vermillion step-by-step tutorials. I'll link in the description below to my website where you can find the reference image that I used, and you can also find a completed image of the painting, and you can use that on the projector when you're painting this one as well. So I'm excited for this one. Let's just jump right into it. Alright, here we are in our virtual studio. So if you haven't already, you can click Start a New Painting, and this will bring up an empty canvas for you. This one we're going to be doing, I'm going to set the original size here as 18 by 24. Once you got that chosen, then you can hit the check mark there. And if you want to bring up the reference image at all, I will link that below. I'm going to be using the one right on Pixabay, but I will I'm going to also crop it for you, and I will post it on my website that you can just bring it up there as well. Or you can just use the finished painting image that is posted there on my website as well. Alright, so if you've painted with me before, thanks for coming back again. But if you haven't, then we always like to start with the background, work our way to the foreground. So we're going to be doing the background first, the rocks, some waves splashing, and the lighthouse towards the end. I know the lighthouse isn't totally in the foreground, but that one's okay. The reason we're using this image, but we're going to be changing it a bit, but we're just kind of using it just for getting some proportions right between the lighthouse and the rocks and such. But we're not going to be doing exactly this painting. We're going to be changing, or sorry, this image. We're going to be changing it up a little bit. So we are going to, excuse me, we are going to start with the sky, and for that, we're going to take our 2-inch brush. So I'm just going to slide this back a little bit there. Okay. I'm going to take the 2-inch brush. We're going to take this darker blue here that you can see. Spread a little bit down here. Add just a little bit of white to it. And we're going to start spreading this, because remember, we're trying to make kind of like a partially stormy sky, as if there's, you know, things aren't perfectly nice. Because we're thinking as if there's a little bit of wind, and that's what's going to be creating the waves on the rocks. I'm going to take a little bit of white. And we want the sky to go 2/3 of the way down. I know it's kind of a mess right now, but that's okay. I'm going to take some of that lighter blue there and mix it in over on this side. A little bit more. And now I'm just doing some nice broad horizontal strokes, and that's just going to allow this paint to mix together. Get a little bit more over here. Now I want there to be a little bit more almost bluer sky over on this side here. So I'm going to just add a little bit of blue over here and then just kind of mix that in a little bit. And then I want a little bit of this right in here, right there. Now I'm going to take our blender brush and I'm just going to start smoothing things out. Just going in. You can do a few different types of brush strokes to start. In the end, I'm kind of finishing it off here with a little more horizontal, slightly diagonal brush strokes. But this is getting rid of any unwanted texture, just smoothing out our sky quite nicely. Kind of giving us a transition between these darker clouds here that you can see and the lighter bluer sky over there. Just to add a little bit of texture to this, I'm just going to try with our bristle brush here, taking a little bit of white. Just dabbing a little bit of this throughout here. I'm going to take that blender brush again and brush that in. Take that bristle brush again. And again, just kind of smoothing that out. It's giving us some nice cloud textures in here. And just keep on doing that until you feel like you're satisfied with your clouds. And I'm going to just extend this oh, that's a little dark. Just extend this a little bit down as well here. All right, take a step back, see if you like it. All right, just to make sure my sky is as low as I want it, I'm going to project our reference image on here. And I'm going to, if you go to my website, that'll be better. This one I have to literally make it as large as it goes. I'm going to shrink this down a little bit. Alright, so here we are at our canvas. If you haven't already, you can hit start a new painting and it'll bring up this blank canvas for you where you can select the size and grab that corner. We're going to be doing a 12 by 16. Once you have that chosen there, you can put your hand in the middle, and I'm just going to increase that size a little bit to begin. And we're going to be changing the size as we go. And yeah, so if you've ever painted with me before, you know that we like to start with the background and work our way to the foreground. So with this one here, we're going to start with the sky, work our way into our rocks, and then the waves in front. We are going to do the lighthouse towards the end, and even though I know it's not right in the foreground, it's behind some other things. That's not too big of a deal for what we're doing, because there's not a whole lot of overlap with it. So with our sky, we're going to be creating kind of a stormy, slightly blue sky. So for that, we're going to take this kind of the darker blue there. Just mixing, or just painting that in here, using nice horizontal brush strokes, just spreading it out. We're going to take a little bit of white, mix it in with this a bit more, take a little bit of that lighter blue that you see above it and mix that in there. Sorry, that just wasn't giving me the color I wanted. There we go. Just start mixing that in a little bit here as well. I'm going to take just a little bit of pure white here. Start adding that in as well. Oh, I got a little bit of green on my brush there by accident. We're going to bring it down a little past 2/3, almost 3/4 of the way down. I'm just working my way up into a color and back down out of that color. A little bit more of this blue on this side here, because this is where the sky is going to be turning a little bit nicer. Just brushing it into each other here. And a little bit darker again up in a few spots in here. Don't want to totally get rid of that darker color here. Once you got those main colors out, grab that blender brush, and we're just going to start smoothing this out here. This is going to take away any unwanted texture that we have. If you really want to push a certain color in a certain direction, I'm just going down on this one. We're not going up at all. Pushing that darker down into what's below it, and then you can just go back to your horizontal. I'm going to kind of do horizontal diagonal strokes to finish off these colors here. Alright, then we're going to grab our bristle fan brush. Just going to take some white on this. I'm just going to go in and just dab this in here. And it's going to start mixing in with what's around it. which is totally fine. Then I'm going to take that blender brush again and just go in and smooth these out. You're going to see that's going to give our our clouds some nice texture and layers to them as well. I'm going to do that again just over here. Alright, we're going to take that bristle fan brush, going to take a little bit of this lighter blue and just kind of brush a little bit of this lighter blue into the clouds here a little bit more, and also down into here. And then take that blender brush and just blend some of this out here. Just push it around as much as you want here. Just going to bring a little bit more down in here. Making sure that we're going low enough for the rocks that we're going to be putting in here. Alright, once you got that sky done, I'm just going to shrink this back down, and I've linked, as I said before, the reference image. Maybe you're using just the painting reference image. I just want to make sure I've gone low enough here, so I'm just going to use the projector here, see where my rocks are going to be ending up. I think that's pretty good. I just want the rocks to overlap the sky. I'm going to toggle that off now. After the new update that just came out last week, from when this video was made. You can just press the right joystick down and that'll toggle your projector on and off, which is kind of nice. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go in and we're going to be doing these rocks that are in here. And so to start with this, I tried a few different ways yesterday when I was just kind of planning this one out. And I think what I like the best is we're going to just use our palette knife and block in the main colors first, and then we're going to use the palette knife at an angle to then add in some textures as well here. So we're going to grab, I'm going to reset our palette here. Turn it there so you can see it for sure. I'm going to increase our canvas size there so I got more space to work with. Make sure it's still in view for you. Turn it there a little bit so you can see it good. Okay. So obviously a lot of the rocks are gray, right? Especially if we go overlay there, you can see a lot of the rocks are gray that we're going to be working with. So I'm just going to take some black, take some white, take just a hint of this blue, and I'm going to try just a little bit of this yellow ochre in here as well. Okay, and this is going to be kind of our base color here, so I'm going to turn down this and change back to multiply here. So if I turn this off, you can see we just got the sky. I'm going to turn it on here, and I'm just going to add in here, having it pretty flat. Load that up again. Just adding things in here. And turn off that projector to see what we got going so far. Okay. And if you want more texture, you can turn up the paint thickness in your settings there. I'm just going to kind of lightly just fill that in, even though I'm going to be adding some darker colors here over top. Alright, so that's just giving us an idea. I'm going to save some of that on my tray below me. Now I'm going to take some of this darker brown there, add a little bit of black to it as well, a bit more. And with that darker color, now if you can see here, if you toggle it, I'm just going to go in and add this dark color in here where it's darker. And it's going to start blending with what's around it, and that's fine. far on that one here. And some of these bottom ones here are going to be covered up by the waves in the end anyways. I'm just kind of adding them in just in case any of it shows underneath. If you ever need to press B to get a smoother stroke, remember you can do that. Alright, and there's just the basis of our lights and darks. If we turn this back on and turn this up, you can kind of see it there. Or if we go with the overlay, this is where we put our darks down in here as well. So now what we want to do is start adding some more texture to it here. And the rocks down in front here are dark because they're wet. This area here is more dark because of a shadow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this darker brown that we've done, take some of this blue, I'm going to try some darker blue with it as well, and then I'm going to turn the palette knife kind of on its side here and brush some of this in here. I'm going to turn down for the moment that mixing sensitivity. I'm not going to do all the way down, I'm going to do it just part way down. I'm going to use this kind of up in here as well. Down on this side a little bit as well here. Gonna make this a little bit lighter. And add just a little bit in there as well. That was too much. And a little bit in these spots. Okay, now I'm going to go in here with these browns that we kind of mixed before. Add some white up here, just making a lighter, even a lighter one here. So I'm just going to start with this medium brown, and we're going to go in these spots and just start adding a little bit of texture. So if you put it on at an angle, then it'll give you a nice rock-like feature. I'm going to try here turning down that mixability. And again, this bottom part's going to be covered up mainly by the waves anyways, but I just want to add a little bit in just for texture. Okay, I'm going to go with the lighter one now. Actually, hold on. I'm going to do that medium one again here, just a little bit in here. There we go. A little bit more over in here. Okay. Now the lighter one here. And you can see I'm not necessarily really following the exact reference image rocks anymore. Just kind of adding in where I see fit here, which is if you want to try to follow those rocks even more from the actual reference image, that's fine. But we're not trying to create an exact replica, we're adding our own touch to it here. Okay, I'm going to take the lightest one now, and I'm actually just going to try with some pure white because it's going to mix a little bit regardless. That is too white actually. We'll mix some of that in with this. And I guess I should mention, you know, since we're painting like a nature scene, an outdoor scene, we have to think about where the sun is, and this is going to give us our lightest highlight. So if the sky is getting lighter on this side, more light's going to be coming in from this side, making it so that these parts of the rocks that are facing that side are going to have those lighter highlights, and then like this side of the rock here that wouldn't quite be facing that side will be slightly darker. Alright, once you've done a bit on that, just take a step back and take a look at it. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to take some green here that you can see. mix a bit of this darker brown with it. And then I'm going to spread some of that into this shadow area. Hopefully you can see there. This color here is what we're doing. There's some, maybe some moss growing on the rocks in here. And this is going to be the more shadowed part of it, so we're adding that kind of in where the rocks are darker. Then I'm going to take with that same color, just a bit more green to it, maybe just a little bit of yellow, and a little bit of white. And as you can see, that's giving us a lighter but still muted kind of mossy color. And this is going to be that same idea, but just more so where the light is hitting. And again, you don't have to match it exactly with what I'm doing or what the reference image is doing. I'm just kind of adding some in a few different spots. And I feel like I need just some really, really dark highlights just in a few spots here. Just mix some black with that darkest brown that we did. And I'm not adding it everywhere, as you can see, just a few spots kind of around. Oh wait, alright, always remember to take a step back, see how things are going. Alright, just going to add a little bit more of just the lightest lights right on the top of this, because this is where that sun is really reaching. There we go, that's a little bit better. Okay. And just a little bit more right over here. Alright, I think I got the rocks where I want them. I am going to save some of this paint that we've got on our palette just below here, just in case I want to go back at all and adjust anything later, which I might end up doing. As long as the waves stay okay, then we'll be good. Okay, I got those down there. I'm going to do a close-up video here for you to see kind of how the rocks are actually looking, because I know sometimes when it's further away it might be hard to see. Okay, so I'm going to clean off the palette here, and for the water we're going to be using a lot of white, some blues, and we are going to be using this kind of turquoisey, I think it's a phthalo green. But to start, we're going to use almost the same colors what we did for the sky. I'm going to reset that, that's just not working for me. And just along the bottom here, I'm just going to spread this in. And if you want to, you can go in and add a little bit of texture, but we're going to be going over the majority of this anyways here. I'm going to take some of this phthalo green in here, and I'm going to just spread a little bit of that throughout. Sorry if I'm kind of blocking that. I'm going to increase the size here for you. And then just raise that up so it's a bit easier for you to see, and so I don't block it as much. And with this, I'm just going to have this at an angle and just bring it up a little bit. Same with this darker blue, just at an angle, just bring it up. That mixing sensitivity is still down, which is okay. So we're just laying this darker background here first. And these are going to be the waves splashing up, right? Get some of that turquoise color in here as well. Just doing upward strokes sideways with our palette knife. Okay, now I'm going to make a bit of a lighter one here. And what do we got here? I'm going to turn that sensitivity up a little bit and just take some white and see kind of what happens here. Okay, I'm going to turn that back down and again judge kind of what happens here. Take a little bit of this lighter blue and a little bit of white. Put in just a few kind of thicker spots with this lighter blue. Go back to the white, add that over top as well. Too much there. And this is just obviously creating that foamy wave texture that water gets when it crashes up against some rocks. Alright, I haven't stepped back in a minute. I'm just going to step back here and see how it's going. Alright, it's a little too uniform right here. I'm just going to add a little bit coming up. Right there. A little more texture right there. And add a few thicker white spots in throughout there. Okay, I'm going to shrink this down now. Bring it back down. Oh, I'll just do it this way. So now I'm just going to take a step back again and look. Yeah, I think that's good for now. I might adjust things later. We'll see. But for now, let me just look here. I'm going to take some of that turquoisey color that we had in here and just add some of this in a few spots, not super thick. Okay. We're going to move on to our lighthouse now. So I'm going to leave the sensitivity down because we want some nice strong colors here. And I'm just going to use the rigger brush and mix a little bit of gray. And when you're using the ruler, you press B, or hold B, and then it brings up this line, and you can set it wherever you want it. But you need to make sure that your brush angle is where you want it before you set the ruler, otherwise you can't turn it afterwards. So I want a nice vertical line here. Okay. And then if I'm going for this line here, so I'm turning my wrist, but you can see the brush angle staying the same. Or is that too much of an angle there? Okay. I just want to check something here. Yeah, this line here. I need to have it a bit more of an angle coming down there. Or if you want to use the smooth dagger brush, I'll show you with this one as well. You can do that same thing. If we're going across the top here, I'm just going to do it by hand. Okay. Alright, turn off that projector. Now you can see we've got a nice outline of where the lighthouse is going to be. So for the lighthouse, I'm going to use a smooth short flat for quite a bit of it here. To start, I'm just going to get some white, and I'm just going to fill in this side right here. It's coming right down onto the rocks there. If you want to increase your canvas size for work like this, you can do that. I just pressed B so I can have a little bit more stable of a brush. And I'm going to be filling in that top part there that I'm just doing with some shadows and stuff, but I'm just going to do some white right now. If you want to, once you get close to the side there, set that ruler. You can do it with this side too if you'd like. Okay, now I'm gonna, for the middle here, it's turning, so it's gonna be a bit shadowed, right? So I'm gonna have some of this white, take some of this light blue, and just try that in here. I think it could be a little bit lighter, take a little bit more white to it. Okay, and then just take a little bit of that darker blue, the color that we just used. Mix that in here for this second part, or sorry, this third part. That's too dark. Add a little bit more light into it. You can always shrink your brush down if you need to for this last side. And this back building, just going to add a tiny bit more blue to this. All right, I'm with a clean brush here. No, I'll actually wait to do that. I'm going to take some of that darker color that we were using over in here, and if you show the image there, I'm going to add a little bit of black to it, just to make it a little bit darker, and that's going to be going in right underneath of here. Maybe it's too dark. That's better. And then adding a little bit of white to it here, making it just lighter, but still darker than our middle tone here. It's going to be our same idea. And then same idea for the very front here as well. And that's going to be kind of the shadows of that lip coming underneath of the lighthouse there. Right on the very top though, the sun is able to reach. So I'm just going to press B. Oh, didn't want that there. And just along the very top of this, I'm just going to go lightly along, adding a lighter color here. Except on this side, it'll be lighter than what's the shadow beneath it, but still a little bit darker. It's going to take a little bit of pure white again, just at the very front. Not too much. And just for the side right here. Okay. All right, let's do a little bit of the top of the lighthouse, and then we'll come back in and add some more to the base there. So for the very top, I'm just going to be using this pure red for, clean that off by accident, for the side that's in the sun. So that's going to come out like that. And then it's going to come up. Can go a little bit higher. Oh, that brush angle got lost on me. There we go. And then it's also right here out in front. A bit. We're going to adjust that as well. Okay. For the other side, we're going to use this other red that's actually just pre-mixed for us there as well. And this is going to be our nice shadowed red. And then pretty much right in the middle, slightly to the right, is where this beam is, and the majority of it's going to be in the shadow there, so a little high. Oh, there goes my picture. Just shrinking that brush size down a little bit here. And I'm going to increase my canvas size. Bring this down so you can see it still. And now I'm just going to go in and fill in here. Remember, you can always adjust that handle in the brush so you can get a better angle at whatever you're doing here. Actually, that right there needs to be at a slight angle as well, going up. There we go. Okay, I'm going to grab some of that pure red and now just work on doing the same thing on this side. Oof, that wasn't good. A little low. Oh, why does it undo so much of that? Okay. That's too messy. I don't like that. Okay. Just added a little bit too much gray right here, so I'm just gonna splash that out a bit. Okay, there we go. And if you take a little bit of the brighter red and mix it with the darker red, I'm just going to add kind of a line of that going on top of the lighthouse there. And then right on top you can see we got the little topper on it. I'm just going to take the pointed round and we're just going to oh, it's because it's a larger size. We're just going to add this right on top here. Take some of the lighter red. And even just a little bit of this white. can even just add this in a few spots along the top. Oh, that was too much there. So I'm going to take the bristle short, make kind of a lighter pinky red. Oh, it is not liking what I'm doing right now. And just add a few strokes onto the red here. And that's just going to kind of act like the light's glinting off of it, right? Just going to try something quick here before we move on. Okay, so if you look at the actual reference image there, there are kind of like little railings at the top here. So what I'm going to try to do just going to take this and just with the palette knife just scrape a little line in. Same with on this side. Oh, sorry, I had my palette knife turned the wrong way. Scrape a line in. Have a few more throughout. And then we're going to turn the palette knife sideways. And now just connect some of these posts. Alright, now inside of the lighthouse you can see there's kind of the turquoisey green casing for the bulb. So I'm going to take some of that phthalo green and some of that lighter green, mix those together here, and we're just going to add some of that right into the middle here. Sorry, I always start sentences and then take forever to finish them. Take a little bit of white, mix that in here as well to do the right side. Go back with that darker green a little bit more. Okay, take some of that darker red and just touch up this spot here. There we go. Now I'm going to take just a little bit of white, mix it even more with that lighter green that we had, and just dab a little bit in on this side. Take some of that lighter green, just dab a little bit in on that side. And now if we want to try to create the glass, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to try a couple things. I'm going to take this brush and just a little bit of the paint thinner on it. And we'll turn that sensitivity back up and see what happens here. Still not a lot. Okay, we're going to take some white or gray, add a little bit of paint thinner to it. Add even more. Some more. And I'm just going to paint this over top here and see what we get. That's pretty good. Then I'm going to add a bit on this other side too here. Let me take a step back and take a look at it. Alright, I like that for now. So what I'm going to do is, where is it? This one. The bristle short flat, I'm going to change it to the smooth again. And for the windows in the lighthouse, we're going to take some black and mix it in with this blue, darker blue here. And I'm going to turn on this projector here, set down the brush just for a minute. Put that back down so it's lined up again, roughly. And all I'm going to do with this one is just line up the size. Actually, and what I want to do, turn down that sensitivity because we want these to be nice and dark. Alright, now we can go in and fix these up a little bit if we need. Turn on that projector one more time here. Little one right there. And also a thinner one. Back here. Okay, now with our palette knife, just going to take this in, just scrape a few lines out. Now with a clean short flat, turn that sensitivity back up And I'm just going to go along kind of these transition border lines here between the different colors, and cleaning it off as I go, and even along the edges as well. Oh, that didn't work so good. But just definitely along the borders, just smoothing them out and creating a smoother transition between them. Just going to take the blender brush here and just go along the edges of it. Just wherever you feel like it's a little too harsh, just smooth out those edges a little bit. Okay, I'm going to take a step back, see if there's anything I want to adjust. I think I got it there. So if there's anything that you want to adjust in the rocks, waves, anywhere, now's the times that you can do that. Make sure when you're finished that you go in here and hit Save Painting. And then if you want to export it there, then you can export it and print it off as well. I think we've got it here. So I'm going to give you a nice close-up view here of everything so you can see it. And then after that we'll go to the outro. So thank you for painting this lighthouse with me today. As always, I hope you learned something new that you can take on to your next painting. If you haven't checked out my other tutorials already, I encourage you to do so. And if you have any suggestions of things you'd like to see in the future, send me a message or email me. I'm more than happy to take those suggestions. So make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and we'll see you next time here on Brian Sloan Artist.